It's the most wonderful time of the year, Christmas. And what better way to get into the holiday spirit than with a Minky Couture blanket? Whether you're gathered around the tree with loved ones, roasting marshmallows by the fire, or just looking for a cozy way to stay warm on a chilly night, Minky blankets are the perfect addition to your Christmas festivities. With a wide range of festive designs and colors, you can find the perfect blanket to match your holiday decor or gift to your loved ones. So this Christmas, make your holiday even cozier with a Minky Couture blanket. Head to minkycouture.com now and find your perfect blanket, just in time for the holiday. Happy holidays from Minky Couture.
Hey guys, it is Ryan. I'm not sure if you know this about me, but I'm a bit of a fun fanatic when I can. I like to work, but I like fun too. It's a thing. And now the truth is out there. I can tell you about my favorite place to have fun. Chumba Casino. They have hundreds of social casino style games to choose from with new games released each week. You can play for free anytime, anywhere. And each day brings a new chance to collect daily bonuses. So join me in the fun. Sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18 plus.
Hi, this is Matt and Amanda with Deepwood's Paranormal podcast. We are here talking about the Queen Mary today. Sitting across from me is my wife Amanda, as I said. You want to say hi, babe?
Hello, I'm off camera because I did not have time to do makeup or hair. I ain't got time for that today.
Yeah, we're preparing for a really big investigation. Excuse my noise there. Up in a local area that we can't talk about right now, but she's helped me with that. So that's what she's working on, doing some research. Anyways, okay, so let's talk about the history of the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary was launched in 1934, and it was docked permanently in Long Beach Harbor in 1967.
The Queen Mary is a cruise ship, by the way.
Right. If you don't know the history of it, go look up Queen Mary hauntings, and you'll find quite a bit of stuff on there. Some of the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. So, anyways, Amanda and I have investigated this ship. I don't know how many times. At least 24 times, maybe more. We've stayed on board 2 or 3 nights in a row in some of the haunted rooms, and had a lot of experiences with that. Have investigated with friends, just cruising around the ship and seeing and experienced things. They've got cool things on picture and stuff like that.
Took a professional investigation tour with Erica Frost. Took our own tours. Actually went on the ghost tour that they provided. So we've spent quite a bit of time on the ship.
Yeah, and we've done the haunted stuff, the haunted mazes and stuff down there too, which is always fun. So anyways, let's get into some of our experiences. The first one I want to talk about is room B340. Yeah, everybody, if you know the Queen Mary, you've heard the stories of room B340. Room B340 is supposedly where there's a lot of conflicting stories, but there's supposedly a few people, or a person that died in there, and under duress or under not very good circumstances, and now there's like poltergeist activity in that room. Things that were said to happen before they actually cleaned the room out. They had the bed unmake on its own. They'd have things fly across the room. Lights would go flying. Lights would turn off and on. There would be noises inside the room and nobody was there. They could hear talking, footsteps, and stuff like that. Just a lot of cool things, paranormally wise, that we look for when we go to research that kind of stuff. Anyways, my story is this. This is just one of the times I was in room B340. This is probably about 15 years ago. We had a split group. We had about 8 people in the room. A lady named Mary and I were on one side of the room. The room that is true room B340 that combined 2 rooms together. On the other side, a bunch of other people, a bunch of other investigators were on the other side. And on our side, Mary and I both looked at each other like, what in the world? It just started getting thick and heavy feeling, and it just felt like something was going to happen. So half an hour later, 45 minutes later, recording ourselves, doing EVP sessions, using the K2s and all that crap. Nothing. Got nothing, which was very frustrating. So we essentially went, left the room, started walking up one of those really long hallways, and I kept turning around because I felt like I was being watched, but I couldn't see anything down the hallway. So back then we had the point-and-click cameras, the very first digital cameras. They were like 4 megapixels or whatever they were. They weren't very high, at least for the public use. So basically what I did was I started taking picture after picture after picture after picture. And I thought I saw something in one of them, but I couldn't tell what it was. It wasn't until later I got home that night and I downloaded the photos and actually got a shadow person right outside of room B340. And it was definitely a male entity. You could see just a big bulky guy standing at the end of the hallway. So that's my story of room B340. Yes, we did do other investigations in there. Never really got too much data. That room always feels kind of strange. So anyways, moving on. So that's my room B340 story. Let's talk about the pool area. There is a lot of controversial talk about the pool area, especially the little girl named Jackie is supposedly drowned in the first class pool. Well, if you go on the Queen Mary this day and age, the second class pool is where they spot Jackie, not the first class pool area. Where the first class pool area is, used to be, now has become a stage area, a theater area. But now where the second class pool, they also not only experience Jackie, but they also experience a couple other little kids too as well. And the story behind these other kids may be that they were actually murdered on board the ship. And they don't talk about a lot of the murders that have happened on the ship. There's been a lot of deaths on the ship, and they're very hard to find information on. So the story goes, a dad, a mom, and the two kids came on board the ship, and essentially the dad basically murdered the mom, murdered the kids, and then essentially went on to commit suicide. And that room also, I don't remember the room number that is, I apologize, you can look it up for yourself, is also said to be haunted. So, but the story goes that the little kids like to come down and play with Jackie in the pool area. So getting back to the pool area, people experience like little kids' wet footprints. They'll hear like a splash, like somebody jumped in the pool even though there's no water in the pool.
It's just an empty space.
Right. So essentially, then they'll see like little kids' footprints walking away, wet footprints on the ground, like somebody had just gotten out of the pool, walking away towards either the dressing room or the hallway down there. Speaking of the dressing rooms also supposedly are said to have some kind of vortex. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. Sometimes when you go into the dressing room area, yeah, it could be, could be haunted. My experiences in there, I only experienced it once, but it was pitch black and they made us turn all the cameras off and everything. I don't know. But I did feel like something was standing right next to me. I don't know if it was just, my brain trying to figure out, trying to rationalize things or what, but it was kind of creepy. I'll have to give it that. So, moving on. Talking about another area that we investigated on the ship was the engine area. And I don't know how many times we've done investigations down there.
A lot.
Yeah, maybe at least a dozen, if not more. And we've come across a guy named John every once in a while. And his story is that they were doing a fire drill, and the bulkheads basically had doors that would close on their own. They were on a timer. And so they used to play a game of, can you get through the 6 or 8 bulkheads or whatever many it was before they close? Well, if you didn't make it, those bulkheads would not stop, the doors would not stop for you. They were thick, heavy bulk bulkhead doors.
It's metal.
Yeah, it's heavy steel, and they basically would kill you if you got caught in it. And that's pretty much what happened to John. I think he got through 3 doors before the door actually cut him in half, pretty much, mid-torso. He tried to jump to make it, and unfortunately didn't. And so John is said to haunt the basically the engine room. Not only the engine room, but he haunts other places on the ship too, but mainly the engine room. We were down there, and they had just done Halloween Haunt on the ship, and I was walking around and taking pictures again, and there was a couple of Halloween props out there, and I caught a picture of what looked like a head. Like, I didn't even know I got it until after I was going back through the pictures later on. About 2 weeks later, I started zooming in. I'm like, okay, that's really cool. They have a prop with a head and like shoulders and one arm, and then half of another arm, and like half of a torso and upper body. And so I start looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute. I started zooming in, and I'm like, wait, hold on, I can see through that torso. What in the world? So I started zooming in, and I realized, oh my gosh, I got a half body apparition essentially, which was really cool.
That was also the time where, because it was right after the haunted tour, they have actually a room, like a metal room set up for people that freak out during the tour. So it wasn't a specific haunted tour, but the stuff was still set up because we came afterwards, and our friends took us, and we got a lot of EVP hits, and in that room, in the panic room is what they called it. Do you remember that?
Well, that's new. Yeah, this happened, God, 18 years ago.
Oh, it wasn't the same time I thought it was.
This is. I don't know what camera I had, but I'm pretty sure it was digital. Yeah, it had to be digital. I don't think it was photos on CD or anything like that, which is where we started back in the day. It kind of ages us, but I don't know if you guys remember the story from the very first time we kind of talked about what got us into the paranormal. But the big VHS tape recorder that I used to carry around in the house that we lived in, and anyways, so yeah, I mean, the technology we had back then, I mean, it's nothing like what we have now. I mean, we have so much better equipment. It's not even funny. But yeah, she's talking about the panic room. We did experience a lot that night. We went back a couple of years ago to California.
Yeah.
And we were out with a friend, and she said, "Hey, come on down." I got us into the on another ghost hunting tour aboard the Queen Mary, and we're like, yeah, we'll go back to our old haunt. And so yeah, she's talking about the engine room. They've basically taken out all the boilers, and it's just a big open area now, and they're trying to build other stuff down there. But they've created a little panic room because the power goes out a lot on the Queen Mary. Nobody knows why, but the power just shuts down every once in a while out of nowhere. Another possible paranormal thing. And it's just parts of the ship or different rooms. It's just very strange. Talking to the electrician on board, he said, "Nope, that's not normal. That's not supposed to happen." So yeah, we were in this. They created a little, I don't know, an 8x8 room, and we were sitting in there, and we had a couple K2s and now a recorder, and the guy basically, kind of led us on an EVP session. And he said, if you guys want to, take a break, and we're going to take a break for about a half an hour. I got to go grab something for my car. So essentially, long story short, we started doing our own EVP session with the K2s. And as Amanda was saying, I believe we picked up on what she was saying was a nurse. She was, whatever we were talking to said, "Hey, I'm a nurse." We started asking her a bunch of questions, and she responded with a K2, lighting it up several times. And answering questions for us, which was really amazing.
Because it wasn't happening anywhere else.
Yeah.
In the tour.
It was only happening in that room. So I had felt something a little ways back kind of follow us down, and I said, "Hey, come on with us," and that's kind of what happened. It basically either followed us or was already there or whatever, and wanted to communicate, which is cool. If you're watching our YouTube podcast, by the way, this is one of our rescues. This is Tinkerbell. Shorty's actually sitting there, and underneath the table under here is Mama. I don't know what Chance is, but we have 4 rescue dogs here. Anyways, guys, so let's talk about one more thing, and then basically we'll get off of here.
Well, I want to share one of my favorite tours as well.
Okay.
So one of the times, and we've been so many times I can't remember which one this was, but it was me and Matt and a couple of our friends, and we had split up. And before we went on, because you can just walk into the Queen Mary. So we walked into the Queen Mary. It was night. It was dark. It was nighttime. And I went up to the desk and I said, "Hey, what can we get into? What are we allowed to see?" And he's telling me the ballroom is locked and the everything is locked up for the night because it was like 9 o'clock. So you can basically walk up and down the halls. You can go into the outside of the room B, whatever it's called. What's the number again?
Room B340.
Room B340. You can walk parts of the deck, but a lot of it's all locked up. And we're like, oh, okay. So we walk over to room B340, and there's noise on the inside, like someone's in there. And he specifically told me that there wasn't anybody in there, and that they don't really lease out that room or rent out that room. So it was really, really eerie to hear like shuffling noises and like almost someone walking around, because we're just outside the door. The doors are not that thick. And so we recorded some of that, and then we're walking, and I was like, let's just go to the ballroom anyway. And I can't remember who was with me. Sorry, it was so long ago. And they agreed, and so we go to the ballroom. I turn the knob, and the door opens. So supposedly everything's supposed to be locked. So we investigated the ballroom. We got some K2 hits. And then I was like, let's go to the exhibit. So they have an exhibit that's during the day, and it has all of like the old, it has like World War II memorabilia and like a model of the Queen Mary, like and it's open during the day. You have to pay to get in it. So we went over there, and the door opened. And we went through the whole exhibit. So every door that we tried that night opened. We went to things that you would not you would not even see normally. So we got down to the bottom of the deck, and we were going through where they were storing like furniture. They had furniture store, like old 1940s furniture. I have no idea. We just kept going. Everywhere we went, the door would be open. And so that was really odd in itself. We got to see so much of the Queen Mary, so much that other people didn't get to see, completely on our own.
Yeah, it's always awesome to do that. I mean, it seemed like almost every time we went on to the Queen Mary, we were able to get into places with permission that just didn't, we shouldn't have been able to get into.
The doors are supposedly locked.
Yeah. Sometimes cast members would just, hey, go ahead, go on in, because they were working or whatever, and we would just...
We didn't leave until like 2 o'clock in the morning. We got into so many places.
Yeah, that particular time. So, just so you know, if you go on the Queen Mary now, they're a lot more locked down. They don't really allow people to ghost hunt on the ship anymore. They want you to have a purpose on the ship. And with COVID going on, I don't know.
We haven't been there in a really long time. We're not affiliated with the Queen Mary. We're not getting paid, to promote them at all. It's just our experience that we've had over the years, and it's something that we enjoy doing.
Yeah, like I said before, it was one of our haunts. It's a place that we would frequent. I mean, like every other week we'd be there. We would just bounce between several said to be haunted places and investigate until we started doing homes almost exclusively. So... anyways, let me tell you guys one more story, and then we'll cut this podcast off. So back during World War II, the Queen Mary became what was called the Great Ghost. And she would transport troops from Long Beach to England, and the reason she was painted gray was because of the German U-boats. And the whole idea was for her not to be spotted, so when she went into the English harbor, it was always kind of foggy or hazy out there, and the gray helped her kind of blend in and not be so obvious, because she's painted white, red, and black, which is pretty easy to spot. So she carried about 1,600 troops at a time at around 30 knots. And she always had some kind of an escort, either destroyers or other types of military ships that would basically sweep in front of her to make sure she didn't run over a landmine. Not a landmine, but a mine out in the ocean. So unfortunately, what happened, there was a major accident where one of the ships was supposed to be zigzagging in front of her and turned at the wrong time, turned right in front of her, and the Queen Mary ran the ship over, doing a lot of damage to the hull, killing about 30 or 40 soldiers that were up in that hole. They all drowned, unfortunately. So also, the other ship, they weren't allowed to go back. They weren't allowed to stop because of U-boats. So they had to just keep going. And a lot of the other sailors on the other ship actually died as well. And it said that they may also haunt the Queen Mary. But we had the opportunity to actually go up into the whole area where the damage had happened. And we were with a friend and stuff like that. And one of the guys was doing a spirit box session. And we were
Tell them what the spirit box is.
A spirit box, if you haven't seen our videos, essentially what a spirit box is it's just a radio that scans through frequencies really, really quickly and creates a white noise. And the whole theory behind that is that the spirits can use that white noise to create a voice. It's kind of like a live EVP, in my opinion. It allows them to talk right now so we can hear them right now. If you've ever actually seen our Woodbine Hotel videos, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's the only place I've ever had any luck with the spirit box. So if you hear me say box or box, it's because there used to be two types of these types of equipment. One was called a spirit box with a V, and then now they have a spirit box with a B. So if you hear me say box, it's just because that's what we had. So anyways, he's sitting there and we're all having the opportunity to ask questions and see if we can communicate. And I looked to my left because I thought I heard a noise. I turned back and looked to the right, and there's a full body apparition standing there of a soldier. It freaked me out, actually, which is very hard to do. I don't get scared very much anymore when I do investigations. But he looked surreal. I mean, he had blood coming down his face, and he had this really angry look. I thought he was going to come over and punch me or something. It just stood there for like 2 or 3 seconds, and then somebody said something to me, asking if I was okay or something like that, and then he disappeared. But I visually we just had a staring contest for about 2 or 3 seconds, and he just disappeared. So I don't know if he was unhappy that we were in his spot or, what happened there, but, I always felt bad. I apologized to him later before we left. I said, I'm sorry if we, came into your territory and, you felt like we were, not supposed to be there or something. But that was a really cool experience. We had lots of cool experiences on the Queen Mary. I mean, that place it's just full of so many memories for us. Right.
And I think we should mention we were on one guided tour where there were people that we didn't know, and it was before they even had the Halloween haunts, and they took us down to the bottom of the ship where the actual collision happened, and the girl had a walkthrough. Something walked through her. We didn't know her. She started crying hysterically. The lights flickered, and she said that something walked through, and then she felt the sadness, and that's why she was crying. I think that this place has a lot of things that happen.
Right, and that was a different situation. That was we were actually down in the cargo hold area. And we were actually, I just felt like something was following us the whole night we were there. And I got the opportunity to go down into the cargo hold where...
We did.
Yeah, well, I did. I was the only one going down into that part of the cargo hold. It was a very small area. It's like a 10 by 10 area or 10 by 15 area, something like that. About 8 or 10 feet down, there was just a ladder. And Erica Frost, who was actually giving us a tour that night, said, "Hey Matt, why don't you go on down and check it out, do an EVP session down there." So that's what I was doing. I was climbing down the ladder when I heard a scream, and then I heard, "Hey Matt, you gotta get up here, And what a walkthrough is basically a spirit.
I didn't realize you weren't in the room when that happened.
Yeah, I was down. I was in the room. It was a big open area, but I was climbing down the ladder. Mm-hmm. Let me go back here for a second. What people don't realize is back during World War II, yes, the Queen Mary dropped off troops to England, but it also transported prisoners of war, German soldiers back, and other soldiers back to, including the wounded soldiers, American wounded soldiers, back to Long Beach. And essentially, the conditions down in this hole, I'll call it a hole because that's pretty much what it was, were terrible for these soldiers. They were like shoulder to shoulder for 3 months. That's how long the journey took. Essentially, no room to move, standing in their own fecal matter, essentially. They had like a bucket they could use if they could get to it, and they were locked down there, which is terrible. But people have picked up EVPs of German coming on to their audio recordings. So, yeah, just bad. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I appreciate you guys listening. Thank you guys so much for all your support and love. We really appreciate it. So, anyways, Amanda, you want to say anything before we wrap up?
Thank you and have a good night. Make sure you follow us on social media.
All right, until we meet again.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
O'Reilly. It's Superstart Battery Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Get up to a $25 gift card after rebate with the purchase of select Superstart batteries. Our professional parts people will test your old battery for free and recommend the right battery for your vehicle. For power, performance, and reliability, choose Superstart batteries only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.